how are you going? I am going to be giving you some training right now that I believe is going to be really helpful when it comes to selling. Obviously, training as coaches, you are going to want to go out there and sell your services, right? And I know from my journey that while creating leads, generating leads was never difficult, selling to those leads was extremely difficult for me. And I tried a lot of different things, lots of different trainings, lots of different scripts. Nothing really fit, to be honest, until I learned a very specific way of selling that was taught to me by my mentor, Erin Fall Haskell. And she calls that selling with soul, soul selling. I'm going to be talking into that today, along with some of the other important parts of selling that I've learned. I have definitely increased my sales mastery in the last 12 months. I even went through a period of 3 months having a 100% close rate. Now, there is one thing that makes a difference. Well, 100% of the time bring down that close rate, and that is having the right person in front of you. So we're going to talk about that as well. But what I really want to get you to is a place where you don't have that script in front of you, where you can actually take your coach approach training and use that as a way to sell, because good coaching is asking questions, and good selling is asking questions, coupled with feelings of confidence about what you're selling and about yourself, certainty in what you're offering and being clear, and also real deep connection to your purpose. So your inner work, your clarity work, your own self-coaching has a lot to do with your selling. So if you're struggling with selling right now, there's going to be some questions as we go through this training that you're going to want to be asking yourself, so that you can actually improve your sales mastery. And we're going to be working into how to overcome objections as well. So, the number one thing about selling is, and this is really where the scripts don't work for me. When you are using a script, you are looking at the script, focusing on the script, and you're not focused on whoever is in front of you as a potential customer or client. So you really want to, in your sales mastery, be focused on feeling into the other person on the other side of the call or the meeting or wherever you're selling, even in sales copy. And you want to be hearing them. You want to be deeply listening to them. You want to be hearing the words that they say. You want to be capturing exactly what they want and exactly what is blocking them from having it. So you have to be switched on. You have to be in flow. You have to be asking powerful questions. So I'm going to be, like I say, talking into the Selling with Soul system, which is quite cool. It takes you through the chakras of the body, really feeling into where those blockages are and where those desires are, and also really looping it back to your program. So, and specifically the result that you can create. We're going to do that in a moment. But the first thing that's more important before you even get started on your sales call is how you show up online. One thing I say all of the time with the personal story formula is that it creates this level of trust and authority and credibility that brings the sales process into your lead gen. So the place that we are going to start, and you are going to start in terms of your selling, is that brand house, your brand house. Remembering that your social media is like a street. You are a street on a house, and there are so many other houses. And what is going to be the thing that is going to stand you out to that person walking up and down the road and have them connect with you? We talk about in the personal story formula how the roots underneath your house, your roots of all of that brand come from your personal story, knowing intimately those parts of your story that are going to connect with your audience on an emotional level, so you get them into a place of emotional decision making. If you can get somebody into a place of emotional decision making when it comes to selling, there is no sell. They're already deciding, they're already confirming that what you have is what they need and what they desire, right? So at the roots are knowing your personal story. Above that, we have the foundations underneath your house, the problem that your solution is solving. being really clear about that problem and knowing how that problem is showing up for your audience as well, in their language, their words, and knowing where they are at their line of discomfort so that they're at that point where they are ready to fix the problem. It is not a problem that they are happy to stay comfortably miserable with. They are ready. They are aching, urging, praying to fix this problem. So again, that goes back to knowing your story, because you will remember where you were when you reached that line, the things that you were saying to yourself, the things that you were searching for, the words that you used. Then we have your result that you're creating, and that is the roof of your house. So knowing the overarching thing, the thing that it's all leading up towards is creating a result for somebody. You need to know that, and you should bring that into your social media. And again, this is about having your brand house, putting this brand house through your social media so that those people walking up and down the street, because your audience is a marching parade, it's not a standing army. You should be growing your audience every single day, and those people should be interchanging in your audience. And those people who are the same audience are never standing still. They're moving through, scrolling through, they've got no time. You know, it's such a dynamic place. So that result that you're creating and that result that you're a problem that you're solving, they have to be super clear. And then obviously you have your brand pillars, and this is how you show up. This is what you show up with, the things that let people know what you care about, what you stand for, what's important to you, what is your purpose. Just like if I was walking down the street and I see a house, what takes it being from just another house to I just need to go and speak to the woman in that house, right? Or wow, like that house is exactly what I'm looking for. What is the connection between those two things? And that is what we put out. That is what we show, those brand pillars, those guiding principles, the content, the value, the hacks, the tips, the tutorials, and specifically those calls to action. So before you even sell, before you even get to a sales page, and we know if you've got a website, it's social media that is directing people mostly to that website outside of Google, and that people are using Facebook and Instagram as Google anyway, searching for what they need. So even if it is, sales copy, you want to have warmed them up on your social media first. If you're getting them on the phone, you want to have them already in a place of really being quite certain that they are for you, so that your sales is easy. So number one, it's how you show up online. That is the first part of your sales process before you even start to officially sell on a call, in a meeting, on a website. Number two, going back to that result, please focus on selling the result. I know at this stage with your coaching certificate, you're starting to really get excited about your program, or maybe you're shitting yourself, like one of the two, right? It's like, what is my program? Now I know I want to coach. I know I'm getting these skills. What is my program? And my mistake was to leave Viv's coaching certification with a real clear idea of my program, but not being clear enough on the result that I was creating, and not having tested that result in the market, which meant that I didn't get sales, which meant that for a couple of years I was a very, very frustrated coach, having very few clients, very inconsistent clients, and because of that, very inconsistent income. What the difference is now, I am still the same coach, I still have the same training, but I am very clear on the result that I'm creating. I know how to talk about it in the language that my clients are using, and I know their line where they're ready to shift. So you want to be talking to the result, not the process. I want you to think about when people go and book a holiday, for example, they already have seen the place that they want to go. They have felt themselves in that swimming pool. They have felt themselves drinking that pina colada in the sun, right? They are emotionally connected to the place. All they're doing when they're going into the flight center is they are looking for the salesperson to give them the right deal, right? To sell them on the deals that they have, where the salesperson is going to, again, connect with that result that they're looking for. Talk about the they're going to find out what they're looking for in terms of accommodation. Ask them questions. Are you looking for a hotel, a motel? Do you have kids? What is your budget? These are the questions that you're going to ask on a sales call. Questions, feeling into your potential client, listening deeply to what they want, and then serving them back that result as a given, so that it is a no-brainer for them to say yes. So focus on the result, not on the process. They don't care about how the plane is going to fly them to this motel in Costa Rica, right? They want to be there. Never assume anything in a sales call. Never, ever, ever assume that somebody has no money. Never assume that they can't get access to money. Never assume that they don't have the time. Never assume that they don't have the commitment. Anything that you assume is actually a projection of your own feelings and your own shit. So if you find yourself assuming, making assumptions, we need to look at what's going on within you in terms of your belief systems. Never assume. When somebody wants something bad enough, they will make it happen. They will sell something. They will call in a favor. They will, take a loan. They will look at finance companies. If they really want something and you really sell to that desire, they will find a way. We always find a way. And you'll know this when you look at your own purchasing decisions in the past. When you've been in that emotional place, you will buy something spontaneously when it doesn't make sense. So never assume anything. And really feel into the profile of who you're selling to as well. Okay, so your buyer will have a way that they buy. They will be impulsive, or they will be somebody who wants to think about it, and you have to go with that. And that has to be something that you're seeking out in terms of your questions as well. You do not want to force somebody who likes to think about something into a spontaneous decision, but on the flip side, you don't want to give a bunch of information to somebody who loves impulsive buying. So you have to get to know them. You have to understand your audience. You have to ask those questions so that you know them intimately on that call. You can build towards this in a direct messenger conversation, right? So you don't necessarily have to do all the selling on a call or on a website copy or in person. You can ask questions in the direct messenger. So this is assuming your selling funnel is value content to call to action to connect. Obviously, selling through a funnel is a little bit different. If you're selling through a funnel, they're likely going directly to a sales call or directly to a sales page. But if you are using the personal story formula, hello, whoever's jumped on live, you are going to be using value content to CTA. So this is another benefit of value content to CTA, which is that you have this freedom to really dive into the questions in the messenger before you've even got them on the phone, right? Hey, it's Michelle. Hello, lovely. So you want to understand those buyer profiles. You really, 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 really want to be keyed into that client, and you want to make sure that they're your ideal client. Like I said, there was a period last year where my sales conversion was 100%, and that was when I was selling through regular challenges. Because I knew my client profile, I was definitely bringing those people into the challenges, which means that half the selling was already done, right? So when I go away from the challenge and I do, I mix up my selling process and I use different freebies, my conversion goes down. So it doesn't go down as what it was when I was crap at sales, but it goes down. It goes down to 75% instead of 100%, maybe 70%, right? So the more you are calling in the right clients, the higher your conversion is going to be. So you want to be getting to know your ideal client. In our course, the You Unleashed 1-to-1, we use the survey. We actually go out and test the language. We find out about them and get them to tell us who they are. That way, you know. We have a guest trainer who's just pulled my paperwork out. Hello, just a second. But if you haven't gone through the You Unleashed one-to-one, you can just observe the language that your clients are using in their social media. Go into groups and see what they're talking about. Go into groups and ask strategic questions. Look at people who are offering the same result as you. Look at their sponsored ads. Look at the questions that people are asking. You can use a website called answerthepublic.com. I think you get to use it once a day for free, and you can go and actually see the language people are using to describe the problems that they have and the way they are looking to solve them, right? So you want to observe the language, use the language that your client has, and you want to do this on the sales call as well, which we're going to go into the sales call process in a minute. But if you reflect back their own language, if you're taking a running note of what they want and what's blocking them from having it, and you reflect that language back at them, then they're going to be connected on that emotional level, because you're really tapping into what's going on with them. We want them in that place of emotional decision making. A really good example today, I was on a retreat, second day of a retreat, so I was very tired, very emotional, totally connected to what I want, which is right now scaling. And we had a guest trainer about automated funnels. Now, she spoke to all of my problems right now, which is a lack of time, which is actually, too many leads, so many messages in my inbox that I'm actually now missing. People are falling through the cracks. Desire to impact more people. So if I had a lower ticket offer on an automated funnel, now that I have trust and credibility, I could actually impact more people if they are automated, sold to automatically, right? So she was speaking all the right things, saying all the right things, and all of a sudden she's popping up one of her funnels. I can see that there's a template, it's done for you, and I'm spending the $17. I'm emotionally connected, and then there was an order bump, and that's another $35, and I'm spending the $37, right? Because I'm in an emotional decision place, and I'm in that high emotion. We never really, if we can see that somebody is a really good fit for our program, we never want to let them off the phone without making that sale. Because once they go away and they go cold and their logical decision making comes in, they will talk themselves out of that purchase. And I used to carry a lot of guilt around this. Oh, but what if they really can't afford it? Oh, well, what if? And the thing is that your clients ultimately shift. They ultimately have breakthroughs. They ultimately do make money, and they wouldn't do any of that without what you give, right? Most of the time. So it is actually a travesty that you don't get them in that point of emotional decision making, because, bear with me one second, once they go into that logical mind, they're making a logical decision that isn't necessarily for their own good. Okay? So they're talking themselves out of it. So we do want them in that emotional place. It is all about feeling, and how feeling represents in words, which means you get to know them, you get to know how they feel, how they talk about how they feel, which you can do with a survey. If you've gone through the You Unleashed one-to-one, that is definitely how we do it. But if you haven't, then just strategic questions in groups, watching other people's threads in groups and seeing the language that is used, and also using that website, answerthepublic.com. And just to reiterate as well, people do not care how you're going to create that result. They want to know that you can create that result. And this is where we can use a lot of social proof. So again, when I talk about in a minute the Selling with Soul system, one of the parts of Selling with Soul is actually going into that whole solar plexus, which is your commitment. My dungarees have just fallen down, by the way. I've just felt the clip come off, and I'm now stood with them hanging around my ankles. So you really want to focus on the result, because they just don't care. They don't care how they're going to get there at all. And by going into how, you take them out of that emotional decision place and you take them into the logical decision. You're giving them things to think about. You're giving them reasons to contemplate, and that's when their survival mind kicks in. That's where they think about, they can only base that logical decision making on things that have happened to them in the past. It's that survival brain. It is that time they haven't been able to afford something. It is that time where they've been under financial pressure. It is that time where they have purchased the course and not had time to do it, right? It's all going backwards and not looking forwards. And going forwards, there is only potential. And this is where you have to trust in yourself. You have to have the belief and posture in what you're going to create for them, and know that you can create it. Believe in yourself, because you can create that result. You will create that result. You have to get them to that place of really believing in that potential and trusting in that potential. If they can't trust in themselves, you're getting to that place where they trust that you are holding that belief for them. And that is a beautiful place. Having been on the other side of that, knowing that a coach really believed in what she could do and having that social proof, it got me to this place of actually really connecting with that down. It was a massive weakness. It was a weakness that had been holding me back for a really, really long time. The fact that I did not believe in myself. And one of the ways she got me over my objection was to say, are you telling me that if in 3 months' time you're not going to have earned your money back, you are not going to do the work? You are not going to go all into this program? Because you can see that these other people have got the results. Are you telling me that you're not going to go all in? And when she flipped it like that, I could see that that's what I'd done before. I'd bailed out over and over again. I had got distracted. I had made excuses. I had self-sabotaged because I had a very, very deep fear of success. And lots of people have a very, very deep fear of success because of that thing looking forward. We don't know looking forward. We can't see forward, which makes it unfamiliar to our brain, right? So you've got to kind of know the psychology of selling as well, and you've got to really feel into where people's insecurities are, and that kind of brings you to you as well, and feeling into your own experiences, and also seeing your own shifts and really seeing how where you have invested in things and the outcomes that you've had, they might not necessarily be money, but the way that you open up potential in yourself, you shift your confidence, you release a trauma, you learn how to create relationship, whatever it is. There is a return on those shifts, and without those shifts, nothing happens, right? So really, really feel into that psychology of selling, your own journey of selling, what you've enjoyed in sales conversations and what you haven't liked as well. Be aware of those things so that you can craft how you sell, because ultimately, how you sell is your process. I can give you this process now, which I'm going to do, but you can make it yours. You can make it so it feels good. You can make it so it feels impactful. A sales call should be impactful because you are giving people really big breakthroughs, right? That breakthrough that I had, I fear success. I know that I'm worried that I am not going to put the effort in. That was a huge shift for me, right? Where you get people to see that it's them holding themselves back. That's a massive breakthrough, because we're used to giving our power away to all these things in our world, all these circumstances that at the time we feel it's quite justifiable to say this is what's holding me back. But it's not those things at all. It's just ourselves, right? Because we can change anything. So those breakthroughs are huge in the call. So selling in itself is serving, because you are opening people's eyes to their own potential and also to their own limiting beliefs and blocks. Just put this down. This baby's hanging off here and my dungarees are falling down. Oh my goodness me. So the call itself, we are going to talk through those chakras. And like I say, it is a selling with soul system. I learned it from the soul coach herself, Erin Fall Haskell. And it's amazing because it gets you to tap in. It gets you to tap into yourself. It gets you to tap into them. And it's really easy to remember because it's obviously just working up through those energy meridians, right? So we start in the root, and the root is where we hold on. The root is where we hold on to our trauma. It is where we hold on to our shit. It is where we hold on to our pain and our trapped emotions. I did a trauma release session the other day, and I felt physical pain in my root. The more we dug into that trauma and the more we experienced that trauma, the more this pain started to manifest all around my hips, and it was really uncomfortable. But then as the emotions started to shift, as I processed that emotion and it started to move, and I became more and more emotionally detached to what I was talking about, the physical pain started to disappear. It was epic. So you want to be asking people, like, what is going on? What is going on for you right now? As well as the flip side, and what is it that you want, right? What is it that you... Michelle's jumping off. That's okay. That's okay. You can watch the replay. So you want to see that, you want to start creating that gap. The root is where they're at, what they want. So ask lots of questions. How long has this been an issue for you? And who else is this affecting? What is the vision that you see of you succeeding in this thing? How would that feel? What are you feeling right now? How is that impacting you? So lots of questions. I try to come up with 3 to 5 questions per chakra. Then we're moving up into the sacral chakra, which is our sexual organs. It's our creativity. It's our desire. This is where you're getting them to desire you and to see that potential for creation, right? So you are at this point introducing yourself, and you are saying, like, I'll say, well, how much do you know about what it is that I do? And they'll say, oh yeah, not much. I hear that you're a soul goal coach. And I will say, yes, I'm exactly that. I am a soul goal coach, and I help entrepreneurs like you, soul fired up female entrepreneurs, actually hack those emotions that are keeping them stuck and leverage their personal story so that they can monetize their soul goal business. And we really get that business and soul goal to align so that your business is a true expression of that soul goal. And I've worked with lots of women just like you, and at this point I will pull out a testimonial that is actually really aligned. So whoever I am talking to, I will think back through my clients, and this is where you can use your case studies. They don't need to know that they're case studies. Well, I actually worked with a lady just like you, and within 4 weeks we'd actually taken her from a business idea to a tangible business with income coming in, something like that. You're gonna create desire in them that they can actually do what they've come on the call to explore. It's suddenly becoming real for them. You are increasing their desire in you and in the outcome. You're then going to move up into the solar plexus, which is right here, right? Again, over the retreat this weekend, we were doing some breath work, and I felt a block. I felt a physical block here in my solar plexus. And it's interesting because my goal for the retreat was all around stepping into that full trust. That full trust in quantum physics, quantum consciousness, more embodiment of what I'm becoming. And to feel that block was really interesting. I was like, well, hello. It's almost like the air didn't want to go through. My diaphragm didn't want to move. So I did some tapping. I tapped out that solar plexus area as I was breathing, and suddenly the air was moving through, and I felt like it was it was so powerful. But it is about commitment. You want to ask them, so how committed are you to this? Is this just something you're exploring, or is this something that's going to happen right now? It's got to happen right now. And I always get them to rate it between 0 and 10. If 10 was, I'm committed to this, nothing's going to stop me, I'll walk through fire. And 0 is, I'm not committed at all. Where are you? And I will actually say to people that I only work with those people who are ready to walk through fire. I'm not messing around with people who are half-assed, because in my coaching, we don't half-ass anything, right? We full-ass, or we don't ass at all, right? And that is what I want. I want people who are committed. So don't have scarcity here. If they're not right for you, let them go, because if you have to drag them in, you have to drag them along, right? So how committed are they? Another way you can get them to express how committed they are is to sort of picture out another 12 months along. What if 12 months time things look exactly the same as this? How would this feel? Well, I can't do another 12 months. Or could you do another 3 months? Or, no, I couldn't do another 3 months. Things have to change right now. Get them to commit. Get to see where their commitment is. You're then moving up into the heart chakra, where you are really getting them to connect with their feelings, which you do this by connecting to your own feelings. You do this by whatever they've said in the root, you start to feel back into those limiting beliefs you had. Maybe at the root of their problem is a really shit money mindset, right? And that's one of the things that you can solve. You will feel back into your own story and you'll say, you know what, like I used to be there as well. I used to be there when spending money was just horrific for me. We didn't have it. It was always scarce. I was always worrying. And one of the things that changed for me was when I completely shifted my beliefs about money. So you are going to talk to them, you'll introduce with story, you'll actually voice out the limiting belief, and you'll tell them what happened when you shifted. And as soon as I shifted that belief, as soon as I started to believe deeply that scarcity is an illusion, everything changed. Suddenly money wasn't scarce anymore. Suddenly money was everywhere and it was available to me. And at the center of that was this deep belief that I could create it, which opened up potential, which meant I never had, a 0 month in my business again, right? So you're going to go into your stories to get them to connect with their stories and again, open up potential. You're opening up potential in their eyes. Their little cogs are going around in their brain and they're like, wow, I can actually do this. Because that again is the thing, that is the one thing that will stop people saying yes to their yes, and it is the belief that they can't do it. So we've got to get them over that. We've got to get them into their heart space. We've got to get them feeling into and raising that transparency to them of those limiting beliefs so that they have a breakthrough. It's me. I can see my limiting belief here. I can see where I'm reaching a glass ceiling. As soon as we can see it, we can remove it. When we can't see it, we're blocked by it. So, once we have gone into the heart chakra, we're going to go up into the throat, and this is about expression. And this is where we get them to look just a little bit bigger, right? So we're saying, okay, so say we were to remove that limiting belief out of the way. Say we were to push you through that glass ceiling. What does that look like now in your business? Oh my God, like I would be showing up on social media every single day. I would be sharing my story. I would be using my voice. Great. Okay. Well, what is that going to bring as an exchange? Well, I know that if I was showing up consistently on social media every day, I would be growing my audience. I would be getting more leads. Great. Okay. So, how many leads would, you're getting them to see for themselves what they would be able to create. And again, opportunity. What is the, the message that they would say? Okay, so we get you using your voice. Where are you going to go and take that message? Oh, I would open up a YouTube channel. I would have a podcast. If it's, you're coaching them on a relationship issue and it's opening up their voice. Well, what would it do in your relationship if you were to have that conversation with your husband? You can see what's limiting you. What would happen and how would that affect your children? Oh my God, like my children's lives would completely change. Open up the potential, open up the potential, open up the potential. Get them seeing bigger. Then you're moving up into the third eye. What's up? What's up? And the third eye is where you're looping back to your program. So in your right hand, you've had your little pen, you've got your A4 piece of paper, you've had it there, and you've been writing down exactly what they want, exactly what is blocking them from having it, and you're closing the gap now. So maybe they want to have $10,000 income months. What has been blocking them is that they have had no idea how to bring in their leads. So for me, it's like, so what I would be doing to create these 10K months for you is setting you up with your social media daily method of operation. And I would be getting you into consistent action that is going to be bringing those leads to you. Now we're going to have to work into some of those visibility wounds that you've got. So some of the program is going to be working on your trauma. It's going to be identifying where some of these limiting beliefs have come from so that we can change them. How would that make a difference to you? Oh my God, it would change everything. Okay, well, let's go up into the crown, straight away up into the crown. With 10K months, what does your life start looking like now? Wow, okay, well, I'm moving house. I'm starting to put some savings away. I can, crown chakra is legacy. It is really thinking bigger. Okay, well, we don't want to stop at 10K months. What's if we can achieve the 10K, like, what's your ultimate figure? Well, actually, now you say it, maybe I'd want to go into 50K months. Brilliant. Well, we would just be scaling that strategy so that those 50K months are possible. How do you move into the close? You simply just ask the question, right? I used to dance around the question for hours. My calls used to be so long. You might feel 15 minutes in that you are ready to ask the question. If you are, I still want you to go through all those chakras, because it really lays down that foundation. But when you're there, it's like, okay, so what this, I always say, so what, apart from the investment, questions do you have right now? And they might ask some questions, and then you say fab. So regarding investment, you've got two options. You can either, and this is what most people do, is lay down installments so that you can spread those investments out, and that's 2K a month. Or you can do an upfront investment, and that way you make a really awesome savings. What works better for you? They're either going to say it's going to be monthly, it's going to be upfront, or they're going to be like, oh God, that's a lot more than I'm thinking, which is where we then go into objections. What's concerning you about that amount? What's your biggest problem? Is it that the money is not available, or you're worried about spending that sort of money? You start to work through those objections. But really, if you have done your work with the soul selling, going through those chakras, you're going to have eliminated a lot of those objections already, because they're going to be so deeply connected emotionally to what they want, and the logical decision making is out of the way. Questions are logic. If you get to a place where somebody hasn't got any questions, it's like, well, there's no need for them, right? They're emotionally connected to their desires, to what they want. So that is where you really want to not skip over the storytelling and the areas in the sacral, the solar, and the heart chakras. Let me just think, was there any objections? And this is with the objections, you want to get very black and white, right? You want to be really clear, like, well, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. But if you do this, this is what's going to happen. I know if you don't know your ICA, then you're not going to be able to sell. You're not going to make money. How are you going to make money if you don't know who you're selling to, right? You need this. You're not going to be able to do this without me. Black and white. Well, I know that my clients generally are earning money within their first 3 to 4 weeks of coming on the one-to-one program. How are you going to make money without this program? What is your alternative to coming on board right now? And they'll say, oh, well, I'll go and save. Yeah, but how are you creating the money? You can come in and you can spend 3 weeks working with me and have the money for that installment. Or you can go and keep struggling, keep hustling. What's really the problem here? What's really going on? Well, I'm worried that I won't make the money. Okay, so, and then you can go into that objection. Were you telling me, you've seen the testimonials, are you telling me you're not going to do the work? They might say, oh, but I need to go and ask my husband. Okay, black or white, does your husband support you or not? Well, he supports me, so why wouldn't he say yes? Yeah, but it's his money. Okay, well, how long do you want to be in a position where you have to ask your husband for money? Because if you come and work with me, black, you're going to be creating your own money. You're not going to have this conversation. White, you're going to have to keep asking your husband for pocket money. Like, really get black and white. Get black and white. Get postured. Get certain. Those 3 things: confidence, certainty, and purpose. If you can get clear in your mind of those things, confident in yourself, certain of the results that you can create, certain around all those things, the result, the problem, whatever, and connected to your purpose. Why are you selling to this person? Why is it so damn important to you? It is important to me because I know there are soul-fired up women out there with amazing businesses, and they're not connecting them to anybody, and they are spending months and months and years, like I did, not impacting, not making a difference, not reaching the stars, not even trying to reach to the stars because they're stuck behind their own traumas and limiting beliefs. The world is not going to change if we don't start to change it, right? I'm connected to my purpose. I am not letting that person off the phone. If she's not a fit, fine. But if she's a fit, like money doesn't exist. Money isn't anything but pieces of paper and pieces of metal that we use as a value exchange, right? I know that I'm going to be delivering value to this person. I know that the money is an exchange. I know that that exchange is going to create money for this person. Why wouldn't I sell? I'm not going to let money be the excuse. Money was my excuse, and I always tell that story. I tell that story over and over again because I know I can get them into their heart space. I can get them into that scarcity. I can get them to see that real fear and help them to see that if they can get over that scarcity fear, they'll create more money. So demonstrations, client results, what's different between this person and that person, black and white. Let me just think. Did I have any other objection? Let me check. I know I had a list somewhere. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, okay, so using I know, the I know statement is really, really powerful. I know, like when they start to go up in their head, you can bring them back by you being certain. So I know if you stick to this program and take action that you're going to have made some money in 3 weeks. I know that if you, stick to this breath work that within I know. Also, I know on their side, how do I explain this? Almost being going a little bit too far. When they say I don't have any money, you can use the I know and say, I know you haven't got any money. You're broke. It's because you're spending all day making flyers, making your website look pretty, and you're not showing up on social media. I know that you're broke. I know, and I know, just again, it's that level of certainty, that level of confidence. Was there anything else? Oh my gosh. I don't think there was. If I can think of anything else, I will add it into the comments. But is that helpful? Is that helpful to really help you to see those chakras in action? I know that, when I was thinking about doing this on paper, it was it's a lot easier to just kind of talk you through them, take you through each one and explain it as I go. So hopefully you have taken notes. I'm just flicking through my book again. I think I covered everything. You've taken notes. You can obviously listen to the recording and go through again. You can ask your questions. It would be really useful to anybody else who watches this going forward if you actually do put your comments and your questions, and then we can add them as a frequently asked questions underneath this video as well. But other than that, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.